There was a stone wall and a gate right here in front of this house, and we want to see if we can find some traces of it in the ground. People remodel kitchens all the time, and when they do, the old cabinets just get thrown away. To avoid losing historic lumber, we're going to come up with a good solution for that problem. And finally, what actually caused this barn to collapse? So stick around. Let's get going. This barn has a huge selection of 20th century and 19th century lumber laying about. Some of it will be used in reconstruction, but a lot of it, especially the more modern stuff, I'm going to pull out and put to use. In order to avoid somebody inadvertently throwing away some of this older lumber, I'm going to use these inch and a half oak planks to frame out our new cabinets. The panels may end up being the barn boards. As for the older lumber that I just can't salvage and reuse in a reconstruction, I'm going to turn that into nice farmhouse style furniture. Table, a couple of stools, things of that nature are less likely to be thrown out than plain old kitchen cabinets. So what caused the barn to collapse? Well, two things instantly come to mind. First of all, and most obviously, this gigantic cherry tree is just growing way too close to the foundation, and the roots of pretty much any tree are fully capable of punching through or punching over any type of masonry. So in the reconstruction, the first step is the removal of this cherry tree. Plus, this branch actually fell on top of the barn. That didn't help it any. The more subtle cause is right here, this concrete floor. You can have a barn that stood for 200 years, and for the first 150 years, it did great. But somebody in the 20th century decided to pour a concrete floor. That actually traps moisture in the barn, so it's always damp, and that begins to deteriorate the old lumber. Quick tip, if you ever have to remove spackling off of a plaster wall, soak it with water real quick, and then it'll come right off within minutes. All right, now let's go see if we can find this old stone gateway. I'm crossing my fingers that there is some traces there. First step is to find the end of the sidewalk where it steps down. And we found that pretty quickly. I mean, that was very straightforward. And then we kept digging, and I wanted to find that final little step right there. And we uncovered it, and that tickled me to death. So I started widening the ditch out, and I found a stone border along the steps. Then I started digging off to the side, found bits of mortar, and eventually I uncovered the very base of this stone wall. And it was marvelous. Now, whether we restore this or not, who knows? That's years from now. But as it is, at least we know there are traces of this old wall, and we'll see what we do with it in the future.